Hello, friends and neighbors, boys and girls. I'm Farmer Tom. And when I was growing up, well, I grew up on a farm that was huge. And on that farm, we had a big old farmhouse. And wow, that farmhouse, it was huge. And living with us was my grandma and my grandpa. And my grandpa, well, he was huge. And every morning he'd come down for breakfast. We'd be sitting there in the kitchen, and he'd come walking in. Good morning, everybody. It's great to see ya. I have a question for everybody. Are you happy and you know it and really want to show it? We'd all answer, yes! Well, how about if we sing our favorite song, If You're Happy and You Know It? Let's all try it together. Here we go. You're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Happy and you know it, clap your hands. Happy and you know it, really want to show it. Happy and you know it, clap your hands. You're happy and you know it, wiggle and wiggle. Happy and you know it, wiggle and wiggle. Happy and you know it, really want to show it. Happy and you know it, wiggle and wiggle. Nice and loud. Happy and you know it, shout hooray, hooray. Happy and you know it, shout hooray, hooray. Happy and you know it, really want to show it. Happy and you know it, shout hooray. Oh, you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Happy and you know it, clap your hands. Happy and you know it, really want to show it. Happy and you know it, clap your hands. Happy and you know it, wiggle and wiggle. Happy and you know it, wiggle and wiggle. Happy and you know it, really want to show it. Happy and you know it, wiggle and wiggle. Now we're going to do all three. Happy and you know it, clap your hands. Wiggle and wiggle, shout hooray. Happy and you know it, do all three. Wiggle and wiggle, shout hooray. Happy and you know it, really want to show it. Happy and you know it, do all three. Clap your hands, wiggle and wiggle, shout hooray. Well, you know, when we were growing up, we didn't have Wi-Fi and Zoom, cable TV. All we had was singing games, and here are some of the games we used to play when we were kids down on the farm. But for this game, we're going to need our fingers. Did everybody bring their fingers? Okay. Well, now we're just going to need one finger, okay? Let's hold it in the air like this. Put your finger in the arrow in the air. Put your finger in the arrow in the air. Put your finger in the air and leave it for just 1 year. Put your finger in the arrow in the air. Let's put our finger on our shoe. Ready? Your finger on your shoe, oh, on your shoe. Put your finger on your shoe, oh, on your shoe. Put your finger on your shoe and say, how do you do? Pretty good, thanks for asking. Put your finger on your shoe, oh, on your shoe. Let's put our finger on our knee. Ready? Put your finger on your knee, oh, on your knee. Put your finger on your knee, oh, on your knee. Put your finger on your knee and say, hee, hee, hee. Put your finger on your knee, oh, on your knee. Put your finger on your chin, oh, on your chin. Put your finger on your chin, oh, on your chin. Put your finger on your chin, that's where the food goes in. Put your finger on your chin, oh, on your chin. Put your finger on your cheek, oh, on your cheek. Put your finger on your cheek, oh, on your cheek. Put your finger on your cheek and leave it for just 1 week. 1 week? How many days is a week? 7? That's too many days. Put your finger on your cheek, oh, on your cheek. Let's all put our finger on our nose. Ready? Put your finger on your nose, not in your nose. Put your finger on your nose, not in your nose. Put your finger on your nose, that's where the cool wind blows. Put your finger on your nose, oh, on your nose. Put your finger on your finger, on your finger. Put your finger on your finger, on your finger. Put your finger on your finger. Put your finger on your finger. Put your finger on your finger, on your finger. Put your finger in the air, oh, in the air. Put your finger in the air, oh, in the air. Put your finger in the air and leave it for just 1 year. Put your finger in the air, oh, in the air. Woo! Your finger in the air for a year? That's impossible, Farmer Bob. Yes, it is. Well, thanks for asking. Now, on our farm, we had a lot of hay, a lot of corn. We had some animals. But the farmer next to us, well, that farmer had all the animals in the world. And I'm trying to remember that farmer's name. He had a big old farm. I know it began with an old something. It was Old Mick Cheeseburger. No, that wasn't it. It was Old Mick. Yeah, that's it. Old McDonald. That's the guy. It was Old McDonald. He was the neighbor. And when we were little, we'd often ask permission to go see the animals. And the first animals we'd see were the cows. And the cows say moo moo here and a moo moo there. But we do it a little differently. We take our hand up over our head like this and make the head of a cow. Everybody make the head of a cow. And then we go like this. Ready? Moo moo here, moo moo there. Here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo moo. You guys ready? Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O. Hands up, here we go. With a moo moo here, moo moo there. Here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo moo. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. We go further up towards the barn, and we pass by the pond. And there, swimming on the waters of the pond, were the ducks. We take our hand like this, like a duck, and we go quack, quack here, quack, quack there, quack, quack here, quack, quack there. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a duck, E-I-E-I-O. Hands up, here we go. With a quack, quack here, quack, quack there. Here a quack, there a quack, everywhere a quack, quack. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Now we walk further up towards the barn, and there they were, slopping in the mud. That's right, the piggies. Take our two fingers like this, and we say, oink, oink here, oink, oink there. Here we go. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm had a pig, E-I-E-I-O, hands up, here we go, with a oink, oink here, oink, oink there, here and oink, there and oink, everywhere and oink, oink, old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Now we get up to the barn, and out come the old dog, but he's a good old dog. Called him Barney. Take our hand up over our head like this. We say bark, bark here, bark, bark there. Bark, bark here, and bark, bark there. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a dog, E-I-E-I-O. Hands up, here we go. With a bark, bark here, bark, bark there. Here, bark, there, bark, everywhere, bark, bark. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Woo! Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. But you know, in that big old barn, we had a big old hayloft. And in that hayloft is where we kept all the hay. And that's a food for the animals. And that's something that's very important. Animals have to eat. And that's where we keep the hay and straw. But there, above the hayloft, in the rafters of the barn was a big old nest. And in that nest was a bird. A bird we called the Goonie bird. And when we were young, we'd often look up to the big old nest and wonder what the Goonie bird was doing and what actually the Goonie bird looked like. And then one day, we're up there in the barn moving hay, and my friend said to me, "Why don't you maybe try to look into the nest to see if you can see the bird, the Goonie bird?" I said, "I don't know if I can. Okay, I'll try it." And so I got up by that big old nest and I looked in, and there was the Goonie bird. And the Goonie bird was looking right back at me, and the Goonie bird said, "Me." I couldn't believe my ears. I looked again. The Goonie bird looked at me and said, "Me, me." I couldn't believe it. I looked again. Goonie bird looked at me and said, "Me, me, 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 me." I couldn't believe it. My friends were down next to me and they said, "Can you see it? Can you see the Goonie bird?" I said, "I can see it. I can see the Goonie bird." And they looked at me and they said, "What's it doing?" I looked. I looked. Oh my goodness gracious. The Goonie bird is moving one wing. Everybody try that. Try moving one wing. There we go. And my friends yelled over to me, "What's it doing now?" I looked. I looked. Oh no, it's moving two wings. Try that. Yes. And then my friends yelled over and said, "What's it doing now?" I looked. Oh no, it's moving two wings, one leg. Try that. And then sometimes two wings and two legs. You guys ready? And here's the song we used to sing. That's it. There's the song we used to sing about the Goonie bird. Ready? Oh, the Goonie bird. Seven chicks and mother Goonie bird. Couldn't walk, couldn't talk. Oh, we go like this. One wing, everybody move one wing. Here we go. Woo! Mother Goonie bird. Seven chicks and mother Goonie bird. Couldn't walk, couldn't talk. Oh, we go like this. Two wings, everybody move two wings. Here we go. Woo! Mother Goonie bird. Seven chicks and mother Goonie bird. Couldn't walk, couldn't talk. Oh, we go like this. Two wings, now move one leg. Here we go. Woo! Mother Goonie bird. Seven chicks and mother Goonie bird. Couldn't walk, couldn't talk. Oh, we go like this. Two wings, two legs. Here we go, everybody. Woo! Mother Goonie bird. Seven chicks and mother Goonie couldn't hop, couldn't talk. On you go like this, 2 wings, 2 legs, move your head up and down, here we go. Woo! One moony bird, shake your cheek. 7 chicks, 10 mother moony bird. Couldn't walk, couldn't talk. On you go like this. Woo! You guys are doing great. But you know, we talked about different animals on the farm. We talked about the cow and all the big animals. But you know, some people say the most important animal is the smallest animal on the farm. And this is a little animal that can fly. And sometimes it's yellow in color. And if it flew near you, you'd go, eek! And you'd run away. And that animal is the bee. Everybody make a bee sound. Ready? Now when I say it's a bee, this time I want you to take your hand up over your head and go like this. Up and down like that and make the bee sound. Ready? It's a bee! Because that's the dance a bee does in the air. That's how a bee communicates to the other bees where to find the nectar on flowers and gives them directions. Ready? It's a bee! Now in this story, we're also going to make it rain. So take your 2 hands like this and on your lap like this and go. Right? There you go. And then also in this story is going to be a little mouse. So let's take our mice hands up like this and go squeak, 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 squeak. Yeah. And then in this story, there's going to be a big clap of thunder. Ready? A big clap of thunder. And then the bee. And this is all going to happen to my good friend Jill. And Jill lived down by the river with her family and friends. She stood about this tall. She always said please and thank you and helped around the house and would clean up her room when asked, help do the dishes, brush her teeth. And she looked like this. And she sounded like this. How you doing? Doing pretty good, Jill. How about you? Doing great. Thanks for asking. But living up on the hill in the castle was the king. And he was an old king. How you doing? I'm the king. Great to see you guys. I'm glad you're here. Oh my goodness gracious. Good to have people over. But inside the castle, living with the king, was the bee. Everybody make the bee sound. And that bee would chase the king around the castle day in and day out, chasing him one way through the other. And the king decided to have a contest. Who can get rid of the bee? And the first person to show up was the knight in shining armor. Everybody hold your hand out in front of you like this. And if you want to put 1 foot forward, you can do that. And repeat after me. I am the knight in shining armor. I am the bravest in all the land. I will get rid of the bee. Well, the king looked at the knight in shining armor and said, well, you're brave enough and all. Good luck. And so that evening, the knight in shining armor went into the castle, and guess what? It all started to rain. Let's take our hands on our lap and make it rain. Ready? Oh, did it rain. And then, out of nowhere, came that little mouse. Squeak, 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 squeak. Well, guess what? That knight in shining armor, he was afraid of mice. He saw that mouse and he said, repeat after me. He said, oh! Ooh! And he ran from the castle, ran from the village, and he hasn't been heard or seen from since. The king couldn't believe it. Next person to show up was a giant. Well, that giant must have stood 10 foot tall. The giant walked up to the king and said, repeat after me, me giant, me big, me get rid of B. The king looked at the giant and said, well, you're big enough and all, good luck. And so the giant went into the castle. While he was so big, he had ducked down a little bit so he could fit inside that castle. And guess what? That night it started to rain. Let's make it rain. And then, out of nowhere, came that little mouse. Squeak, 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 squeak. And then there was a big clap of thunder. Well, that giant was afraid of thunder. And the giant said, repeat after me, ooh! Ooh, ooh! Ooh, ooh, ooh! And that giant ran from the castle, ran from the village, and hasn't been heard or seen from since. The king couldn't believe his eyes. And then all of a sudden, our good friend Jill spoke up, and Jill said, repeat after me, I can do it. I can get rid of the bee. Give me a chance. Please. And the king said, well, very well. Good luck, Jill. And Jill entered into that castle, and guess what? It started to rain. Let's make it rain, everybody. Woo, did it rain. All of a sudden, out came that little mouse. Squeak, 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 squeak. And then there was a big clap of thunder. And then appeared the bee. Everybody make your bee sound. Jill saw the bee and she was a little afraid, but she held her ground and she said, hey, bee. And the bee said, what, Jill? Don't sting me. And the bee said, I don't want to sting you. I just want to find my way out. See, I can't open a door. And I can't open a window. I just want to find my way out. And Jill looked at the bee and said, well, follow me. And Jill walked to the front door of the castle. She opened the front door. And she said to the bee, repeat after me, now, bee, you get. And that bee flew out that door and started flying around all the flowers and the fruits and the trees to make more food for you and me. And that's the end of that story. Woo! So next time you see a bee, let it be, because that bee is doing all kinds of nice work for us every day to help us make us food and help the flowers to grow. And here's a little song we sing about. There's other animals that also live around the farm. And this is a song about those animals. And the first animal we see is a bunny. And what does a bunny do? It hops. So let's see a hop like a bunny. There you go. The next animal we're going to see is a fish. What's a fish do? Fish swims. Another animal we see is an owl. And what does an owl say? Hoo, hoo. and flies its wings. Whoo! And another animal we see is the spider. And what's a spider do? The spider spins. So you can spin like the spider. And then the last animal we'll see is the bee, and the bee goes buzz. Out in the meadow, in the sand and the sun, lived an old mother bunny, little bunny one. Let's all hop like a bunny. Ready? Hop, said the mother, I hop, said the one. And they hop in the sand and the sun. And they hopped and they hopped in the sand and the sun. And they hopped and they hopped in the sand and the sun. Next animal we see is the fish. And the fish swim. We'll see it swim like a fish. Out in the meadow, in the stream run so blue, lived an old mother fishy and a little piggy. Let's swim. Ready? Swim, said the mother, we swim, said the two. And they swam through the stream so blue. And they swam in the stream so blue. And they swam in the stream so blue. Next animal we see is the owl. And the owl says, whoo! Out in the meadow, in a hole in a tree, lived an old mother owl. Little owls three, let's fly like an owl. Ready? Whoo! Who said the mother, who said the three, and they flew from the hole in the tree. And they ho and they flew from the hole in the tree, and they ho and they flew from the hole in the tree. Next animal we see is the spider. The spider spins. Out in the meadow, in the reed by the shore, lived an old mother spider, little spiders four. Let's see y'all spin. Ready? Oh, spin, said the mother, we spin, said the four. And they spun, in the reed by the shore. And they spun, in the reed by the shore. And they spun, in the reed by the shore. Next animal we see is the bee. Out in the meadow, in a snug beehive, lived an old mother bee and her little bees five. Let's take our 5 fingers and go buzz. Ready? Buzz, said the mother, we buzz, said the five. They buzz in the snug beehive. And they buzz, snug beehive. And they buzz, in the snug beehive. Where's our bunny? You guys ready? Out in the meadow, in the sand and the sun, lived an old mother bunny, little bunny one. Let's hop, hop, said the mom. I hop, said the one. They hop, the sand and the sun. And they hop, in the sand and the sun. And they hop, in the sand and the sun, and they hopped and they hopped in the sand and the sun, and they hopped in the sand and the sun. Woo! Oh boy! around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna wave, wave, wave. Remember me, let's wave all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna wave, wave, wave. Remember me, all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna wave, wave, wave. Remember me, all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna wave, wave, wave. Remember me. The other thing on the barnyard we have to do, we have to reach and reach when we gotta pick the high apples. Ready? All around the barnyard, remember me, we're gonna reach, reach, reach. Remember me, all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna reach, reach, reach. Remember me, all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna reach, reach, reach. Remember me. Does anybody know how to do the floss dance? All around the barnyard, remember me, we're gonna wave, wave, wave. Remember me, all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna wave, wave, wave. Remember me, all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna wave, wave, wave. Remember me. Does anybody know how to march in one spot? All around the barnyard, remember me, we're gonna march, march, march. Remember me, all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna march, march, march. Remember me, all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna march, march, march. Remember me, all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna march, march, march. Remember me, let's wave all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna wave, wave, wave. Remember me, all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna wave, wave, wave. Remember me, all around the barnyard. Remember me, we're gonna wave, wave, wave. Remember me. Woo! And that's a little song we used to sing around the barnyard. Oh my goodness gracious, we used to love it so much. Oh boy. Let's do another song, an action song, and then I'm going to be finishing up. So if you guys want to sit, or you can stand. So when we were little, we had a person that used to come to our farm, and his name was Joe. And Joe was the driver of a great big truck. And that big truck came and picked up all the milk that was gathered from our cows. And the cow's milk would then be traveled in the back of this big tank truck to a place called the milk factory. And that's where they make all the different things with milk. And we have, what kind of things do we have with milk? We have chocolate milk. We have white milk. We can make cheese. We can make one of my favorite foods, ice cream. And Joe would have to spend a little bit of time at our farm while the milk was poured into his big truck, and we'd ask him, Joe, tell us a story about the milk farm. Come on, Joe, please tell us a story. And Joe would say, all right, I'll tell you one story, but that's it. Now, the other day I'm at the milk factory, and my boss came up to me, and he said, hey, Joe, are you busy? I said, well, no. He said, could you bottle some milk with your one hand, please? Let's all take our one hand and bottle some milk. Turn it like this. That's it. Hi, my name is Joe. I work in the milk factory. One day, my boss came up to me and said, Joe, are you busy? I said, well, I don't know. He said, make some chocolate milk with your other hand, please. Try two hands. There we go. Hi, my name is Joe. I worked in the milk factory. One day, my boss came up to me and said, Joe, are you busy? I said, well, no. He said, make some cheese with your other foot, please. Move your foot up and down and your two hands. Here we go. Hi, my name is Joe. I work in the milk factory. One day, my boss came up to me and said, Joe, are you busy? I said, no. He said, make some ice cream with your other foot, please. Make your feet, 2 feet up and down and your hands go around. Hi, my name is Joe. I work in the milk factory. One day, my boss came up to me and said, Joe, are you busy? I said, well, no. He said, make some yogurt with your head, please. Hi, my name is Joe. I work in the milk factory. One day, my boss came up to me and said, Joe, are you busy? I said, yes. Hi, my name's Farmer Tom, and you guys are great. What we're doing here at the Farmer Tom farmhouse is we're all getting together, me and the kids, and we're making stories about our days together with our families. Because I know we've all been together for quite a long time, and this is a way for you to share your story. And what we do is we write them down, just short stories, and we make them into cartoons. And we draw little pictures to depict the different people in the family and what happened on that day. And we've come up with some really crazy and fun stories, and it's something that you guys can do at home. And we've also spent a lot of time reading books. And so it's kind of fun to take a book that you might read, like one of our favorite is a book called George Shrinks. And we can look at that book and we see how George and his story goes and how the story is drawn. And we take that and we can also draw our own story to make it look like George Shrinks. And so that's a lot of fun we can do while we're all at home. And make sure you guys read. It's very important. We put out in front of our little farmhouse, we have a little library where we've cleaned the books off and put them in little plastic bags, and we put them in our little book box out front, and people can come by and take a book if they like. And don't forget to stop at the library and get a book or find a book that you can read. But thank you all for inviting me over to your house. You guys are great, and we hope to see you all again. And if you're looking for something else to do this Friday at the library, we're going to have Farmer Tom again.
All right.
And we're going to do a live show in the parking lot, and we'll do some of these songs and some songs for the parents too. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Farmer Tom. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.